the ESPN 8 studio, and with me, as always, is Mikey,
What's up, guys?
as well as Greg.
Hey, fellas.
So, wanted to do a semi-kickoff podcast here for the Madden 21 season. So, super excited. Want to get some juice flowing, getting ready for that since we already did our team draft. So, first off, I thought the topic we could touch on was the end of Season 3. So we have a new Super Bowl champion, and that would be Johnny Sins of the Packers. Ran pretty much the gauntlet to get the win, so that, by all means, is excellent feat. So congratulations to Johnny.
Yes, congratulations.
Congrats, dude.
And
you earned it.
Yeah, he definitely did. It's a little disappointing that JP didn't get to play him. He gave him the forced win, but I mean, it was clear that Johnny played well down the stretch. So it's not like it was a given that Johnny was going to beat him. When I say Johnny, I mean the original Johnny. So I think it would have been a great game to see, and it's just unfortunate he didn't get to play him. But who did he play after that force in the NFC?
I have no idea.
Don't remember.
Jern.
Yeah.
He played Slick. He played Penn, then Slick. No.
No, I think Penn lost to him in conference.
Yeah, Penn lost to him.
So I think you're right.
Penn beat Slick.
I think he played Jern, and Jern
Okay,
lost to him. And so that's another really solid opponent that he was able to beat. So I thought that was a good win. And then obviously went in to play Penalty in the conference finals and was able to beat Penalty. I didn't see the score of that one. But I mean, anytime you can get a win from Penalty, that's a good win. So he
Penn only lost because he didn't have his quarterback.
And that's true. He did lose Lamar for that little stretch. He had a shot at getting him back, but still, I mean, a win is a win, so got to give him credit for that. And then makes it to the Super Bowl and has to play, the other GOAT in Manny. And I didn't see the game. Did anybody see that game?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
I heard it was. I heard Manny talking a little, so I'm gonna keep quiet about it. But I heard some talking. That game wasn't streamed, I don't think.
Was it? Really? That's unfortunate. I think I was working or something. I wasn't available to see it, so I missed it.
I mean, Madden 21 was already out.
It was.
Nobody
Oh,
really
yeah, that's right. I was
shit.
headed camping, so I couldn't even see the game. So, anyway, I mean, he still got the win against Manny, so congratulations to the Packers. And like I told you guys, he's a tough opponent anyway, so I'll be anxious to see what Johnny Sins can do with his new team. I think the
Broncos.
The Broncos, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm in his division, so.
Oh yeah, you
looking
get to
forward
face
to
him.
that.
Yeah,
Baby.
yeah. That'll be interesting. I mean, I'm anxious to see how everybody does with the new game because I think, the obvious change to the run game is going to be key, but then you also have the obvious advantage to passing. So, I guess real quick, I would say, what is everybody's impressions of the game so far? So, Greg, I'll give it to you. What do you think so far?
Well, I put like 60 hours in this game, so. Defense is very rare. Unless you're playing MUT and you know what the meta is. But, I mean, if you're just playing, like, with how sim we're going to be, I think we might end up having to raise the score limits. But we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they patch the game and defense gets a little bit better. But, I mean, right now it's free-for-all score. Well, you scored like 60 on me just messing around.
Yeah, but we were just messing around, so that's kind of the way that works. So what about you, Mikey? What's your thoughts so far?
So far, I like how the pass rush isn't as overpowered.
Yeah.
Last year, if you had two elite or two decent pass rushers, I mean, you had to be on your toes and just get rid of it quick. The passing game feels a lot better to me. It's like, and what I like about it too is if you're barely moving or barely, even with Mahomes, I've been trying to use the Chiefs since I have them, and even with a 99 Mahomes, a lot of times if you're holding on to the left joystick towards a certain way, you'll end up overthrowing a lot more than last year's version. So I like that. So another thing too, I like the silly animations for the celebrations that they added. The animations in terms of the running game, I feel like improved a lot. Sometimes you'll make a cut, and a lot of times last year you would run into your lineman, and it was just like this glitchy, weird animation. I've had a couple times now where, the running back smoothly, moved over. So I thought that was improved. They improved that on that as well.
Nice. Yeah, my thoughts so far have been it's interesting. I think the pass rush needs to be toned up a little bit because at times it just seems like you can let any route develop. So I think there's a fine balance between 20 and 21 that they need to kind of get. I think that'd help a lot. Speed is going to be a real problem, so I think your Tyreek Hill is going to be just a real bear to deal with. Ruggs is going to be hard to deal with, and then just generally speaking, anybody with good speed is going to be hard to deal with. Crossers are really effective. Obviously,
Really
there's ways.
effective.
Yeah, obviously there's ways to stop it, and I think the coverage drops are key. But like I was telling these guys earlier, is I think that they need to add a function that lets either you toggle your coverage drops on and off, like from the play calling menu, because dropping back into coverage or coaching options and then getting back to a play call is really tough. And especially if you have a setup that you like to say stop outside corners, like any compressed set or whatever, and you're like, okay, I see he called a compressed set. Now I got to get into that coverage and then make the adjustment. You get the stop, and then you're waiting, and you're like, well, is he calling the same play again? What's he doing? And if he doesn't call that same formation, then you're like, oh God, now I got to go change it. And to do it, you need like another 5 seconds or something. They need to do something defensively to give that option more life and breath, because I think it's really key. But right now it's really hard to use. And once again, I just feel like the amount of time after you come out of the huddle is not enough to make any adjustments whatsoever. I've been getting quick snapped like crazy, and it
Yeah.
drives me nuts. But generally, I mean, the game is interesting. I'm anxious to kind of see how everybody decides to play, especially with the run game being neutered. So I'm excited.
Neutered.
So is that Manny?
That's Manny.
Yeah, that's Manny. Thanks. I appreciate the muscle memory. Thanks. So we'll move on. I do wish I forgot to. I wanted to time this so I could put some timestamps in here for you guys. Is anybody able to tell me how long we've been podcasting right now? Not you guys, but anybody on the stream.
Well, it's what 10:17. We posted the link,
Eight
Oh
and
yeah,
minutes.
8 minutes.
so
Okay, so at the 8 minute mark, we will start talking about free agency and how we're going to do it. So free agency this year is my least favorite time of year because it requires everybody to be on the same page. So when we create this league, everybody needs to turn their autofill roster to off, so we don't have any problems with people's CPU signing players. Beyond that, free agency is going to be a draft in reverse order of the pick order. So first pick of the draft was Greg, so Greg's last. So he's 32, and we will go in the reverse order. So 32 gets the first pick, and we'll just go all the way up. So once everybody gets in the league, there's no free agent signings. Go in there, take a look at the free agents, decide who you want, and we're just going to draft them. And we'll tick down the order. Hopefully, we can do that between today and the rest of the week and try to get that nailed down. We might have, there might be a little issue. I don't know if there's going to be a day one patch or not on release. But anyhow, we'll kind of deal with that. But the idea is reverse draft order, and there's only one free agent signing. After that one round, then it's a free for all, and anybody online can sign them. Any questions?
Sounds good.
Mike, you got any questions?
nope.
Okay. So that was about a minute, so we'll assume 9 minutes for the contract cancel. So we're going to do contract cancel. It's going to be a one-time deal, and you can either cut them at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. And Mikey and I talked about this, and we kind of discussed how it works. And I thought about it, and I think allowing for either or is acceptable usage. But once we hit season 2, you can't do it anymore. So if you miss it, you're not allowed to do it. And the essential idea is you pick a player that you want to cancel their contract, but that player then has to be cut off of your team. Once they're cut off your team, they're not eligible to be picked up by anybody else. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a sealed draft or a sealed bid for that player. So if a big name player gets cut and everybody wants them, anybody who does is going to have to message tech support and say, I want this player for this many millions of dollars for the 1 year. And how we'll do that is if you outbid everybody else, you will sign that player from free agency, and then I will go in and edit their contract to match your salary. You have to have the salary available to do it. But that's how we're going to do anybody that is of note that gets canceled and then gets signed to another team. Now, the question would be, Greg and Mikey, since I'm just doing nothing but talking at this point, is should the person who cut them be able to rebid on them? So, Mikey, what do you think?
Absolutely not, because part of the reason why you're cutting that player is because you don't like his contract and you want it to help your cap. So if you are allowing that person to bid on them, you're technically manipulating your roster. For example, if I have, for example, Frank Clark, who's an 83 overall, but he gets paid like he's a 95, I cut him and bid on him. If I win, all I did technically was adjust his contract in a way.
Right.
So
I totally agree.
Part of the canceling of the contract, in my opinion, it's to help teams get a little bit of flex in their cap, but I don't think, me personally, you should be able to bid on that player.
Greg, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to agree. I mean, because then there's a possibility of what he just said. You cut a player to save $30 million, and then you go re-sign them at like $15 million. You're
Perfect.
just saving money to get the same player back. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I'm so happy we're all three in agreement, and we didn't even pre-align these thoughts. Like I thought the same thing. I think that there's no way that we should allow it, just because that person then freed up. Say it is 30 million, they suddenly have 30 million in cap, and a lot of teams that might not have that amount eligible, they could go through all the salaries and be like, oh, all I have to do is bid, 13 million, and I'll get him, and that's a $17 million discount. So,
Yep.
Not allowed to do. Players that are cut from a contract cancel, you cannot offer a sealed bid on. It'll be ignored. So
yeah, because otherwise you just call it, instead of calling it canceling contract, we'll call it, hey, you get to adjust one player's contract, whoever you want on your team.
Right. Yeah. So, any questions about that?
None.
Perfect. Curious what everybody else is saying here.
Timestamp, Greg?
They're talking about finding Sib's dick right now.
I see that. That's clearly nothing about what we just said. And I see here that A-Bomb is saying
13 minutes.
13 minutes ago is when we started. All right. So A-Bomb here is saying that he's hearing the first patch is coming out around the 10th of September along with a roster update. And we are definitely not waiting that long. So
Yeah, that's what I said.
yeah. So
Not waiting that long.
second. Oh, go ahead.
No, never mind.
Oh. The next part, Mikey, if you don't mind posing the question to everybody, tag them and just ask them whether or not they want to do import draft class or the generated rookies, and have them react with a thumbs up for one and a thumbs down and a peace sign or whatever for the other. Because I would like to get the league's feedback on it, because it was talked about a little bit in the original Hard Knocks that some of you guys aren't a part of here, that by season 3 and 4 we had like these super teams, because we were importing draft classes. Whether that's the reason or not may or may not be the case, but I had one experience of somebody saying, another league I was in used the generated, and I think
Manny
it was
wants them
TB.
to be generated.
It was TBK who said, Swanee's league did all generated, and the league was pretty well balanced evenly with rookies and veterans and things like that. So, thought it's an interesting question to ask and put towards the league. So, go ahead and react to Mikey's post there if you would. Greg, what do you think?
To be 100% honest, I'm completely indifferent either way. The way you guys sounded, like before the podcast, you guys sounded like the imported were just a little too juice. I've never noticed that, but if that's what you guys think, I'm down with whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. What about you, Mikey?
See, I don't care either. I could see pros and cons from both sides. I
Right.
feel like what we ran into when we did the auto-generated, then the first season, like it was like a terrible class, and we had to. I
Right.
remember you had to actually boost up players.
Yeah.
So we had that issue as opposed to, you know,
Yeah.
by the time that we switched over to the imported draft class, I feel like we didn't have many seasons. I mean, how many seasons did we run with imported? Do you remember?
I think we only did the generated once, and then after that, because the class was so bad, we're just going to do import from here on out. And
Yeah.
that was the thing, is like we actually did, like you said, Mikey, is we had to edit everybody's first two picks to even make them usable. Like there were so many non-usable guys, just generally speaking. Like you're talking wide receivers coming out with like 86 speed and 87 speed, and running backs that might be 90 speed, that just wouldn't ever see the field at their ratings. Like even if you try to put them on the field and develop them, it was almost not worth it if you had somebody else that was a couple years older.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
think too. Like for the most part, I know Manny's saying no juice players, but the better users are going to have lower draft picks anyways. So I think, me personally, I think a lot of times if you use imported draft class, you're kind of looking forward to drafting some of these players because they're real players. And so for the bottom teams, they're not going to be as dominant anyway. So even if you do get, for example, let me use Dar as an example. He drafted, what was that 99 speed guy?
Yeah.
The 99.
Rondell.
So
Moore.
yes, so he had the Dolphins, and he's a good user, but it didn't make him. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't make him all of a sudden unstoppable because of that one juice player. You know what I mean? And then Panthers ended up drafting Trevor Lawrence, and you know what I mean? Like yes, after 2 or 3 seasons he hit the 90s, but I also feel like a quarterback that like a Trevor Lawrence's ability. By year two or three, he's going to be in the 90s. Like, look at Lamar; he's a 96. Mahomes is a 99. So if you're an up-and-coming player, in a way, you're going to be that high. So I think, having the imported class is kind of cool because you're going to draft real players. So I feel like the lower team users are going to be more hyped for that as opposed to drafting some random guy.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with those points. And my only real problem I had with the import draft class was everybody could go draft or go download that draft class, and they already knew who all the superstars were. And so that I think is an issue because it only takes one time, and it's like, oh yeah, I already know, who the best quarterback is and who the best dev guy is. And I think really what that tells me is that we need to try to figure out a way to randomize some of that.
So wait a second. So you're telling me the draft class you use is public? Like everybody's going to see the draft class?
No, they don't see it, but if you, because what I'll do is I'll go to the community share files, find
Okay.
the best one, and it's like, okay, I'm going to download that one. And everybody knew Trevor Lawrence was an X factor. So after, one season, I mean, it doesn't even take it. It's just, what draft class are we in? Oh, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I know all these guys are the right ones. And the problem with choosing a random one is, one that's not quite as verified as some of the others, is you get some really weird stuff. So, yeah, those are just kind of my little things. One interesting thing that I just saw A-Bomb post was you should alternate between the generated and the import, which I think is kind of an interesting idea, because maybe it'll kind of balance that out. And then, of course, I think it was Slick or Manny that was saying the dev rewards is what really juiced us, which I'm not going to disagree. I know that is definitely part of it. Um, it's just one of those things that I find really interesting to have as a benefit. Like, I'm a fan of the team captain thing that I did last year.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think most people are. So I just don't know that I really want to walk away, or not walk away, but give that one up, and especially for some teams that really are in a bad way, like that don't have a whole lot. I think it's a benefit, but it does contribute to us having a lot of stacked teams, and so maybe that's kind of one of those things where we get away from the season long reward, which is something that Mikey had talked about. Um, Basically stepping away from, like, this year during the reboot we offered an X factor for if you played 16 games, and it's not like everybody got one, but that was one
Mm-hmm.
more dev upgrade that was available. So I
Yeah,
think
and that was mainly because it was towards the end of the season too, so we wanted to
right,
keep the league active,
yeah,
as to where now everyone's hyped for a new team, new roster, new season. I feel like everyone's going to be as active as you can possibly get in the beginning, and then maybe
I
towards. Yeah, go ahead.
I already think that there are too many abilities going around, and I know that's a huge draw to the league. But I, if I had to put a suggestion, it would be to cap them. I don't want to see a defense that has 7 or 8 abilities on the field. I want to see,
right,
obviously, I
Well,
want to see,
maybe
like,
this year you
just
do
like in
want to see
Mutt.
it on the defense.
I want to see 3 superstars on each side of the ball, and that's it. I don't want to have, okay, we'll change it to offense. I don't want to see 3 wide receivers with abilities and a quarterback with escape artist and Deadeye and just going nuts, hammering people, dropping 80 points a game. I
yeah,
like
I
it
don't,
doesn't go with the word sim, like what our league is.
right,
Sim, it's just
yeah,
it's throwing arcade. It's a very arcade thing to do to have all those abilities.
I don't disagree with that point of view. Like, having that many is pretty wild. I think it just, then you get into how do you regulate that, because there's still going to be teams that are going to be generating draft stories plus players. I mean, because what we're talking about is effectively adding 2 superstars to each team, and maybe like we had just talked about, is just giving up the end of season reward. And this is kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I think, de- I think we all kind of agree on, is just doing away with the end of season rewards and focusing more on some of the statistical upgrades that we can give, to players individually. And so I think that kind of shoehorns right into the next topic. So what's our timestamp now, Greg?
We started 22 minutes ago.
22
What are we
minutes.
doing? Are we trying to keep this under a certain amount of time, or what's going on
No,
here?
I want to be able to offer
He's gonna put the
people the ability to
Oh,
know
to scroll
where
through the
each,
video.
yeah, to scroll through the video if they just want to check out a couple different things. So since we're not going to be providing season long, um, upgrades, I think it really is important that we establish something to encourage people from not tanking. And I don't agree. I've never been in a league that's enforced a anti-tanking rule in a good way. It's usually either never enforced, or it's uh, yeah, it's basically never enforced. I've never seen one enforced. So the bounty program was something that I came up with last year, where I'd like to continue to do that this year. And what it is just encouraging teams that are out of the playoffs playing other teams that are in playoff running to play their games, um, and try to win. Because if you win a game against a team that's in the hunt for a playoff spot, or has a playoff spot, but somebody needs them to lose, then what we'll do is we're going to offer statistical upgrades to anything other than combine stats. So speed, agility, change of direction, jump, strength, um, acceleration. Am I missing anything else that's combine,
No.
like hard stats? I think those are those.
Change
Um,
of direction is huge this year on
yeah,
defense.
and I don't want to make a change to that because I think that's going to be something important. Um, so anything non-combine related, we will give a point bonus to to whatever you're looking for. And last year what I tried to do was keep it based on the archetypes of the player. So if you had a wide receiver that's a red zone threat, that's deep route running, catching traffic, and spec catch. So my question to you guys would be, you know, how many points should be allotted to a player that wins a game like that? I mean, do you have an idea?
Uh, I haven't even thought about it.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking. Like, what do you think would be reasonable? Like 3 points, 5 points, but not to one stat? No more than two in a given stat? Like, what are you guys thinking? Mikey?
Yeah, I think something similar to what you did for last year. I think it was like two. So I think what we could do is after we pick a week. So like let's just say after, so we don't do it. Obviously, it's not going to start until the end of the season, anyways.
Yeah.
When teams in the hunt, so you could do like after week 9, after week 10, anyone who has a losing record playing someone with a winning record or in contention, they would be eligible. I guess because so many, let's just say it's like 6 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you got losing record going up against a winning record. Then that way, if you want to reward like everybody, then you just do 1 point. You give 1 point, so everyone is eligible. If any losing record team beats a winning record team, they just get one. I think
Yeah.
because that way you don't want to be giving 2 points or even 3 points to
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 teams. I mean, but you also have to factor in: are they really going to upset? All six going to upset? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And then the question becomes is 1 point enough of a upgrade to make somebody want to win a game when they
Yeah,
might
I was
be
gonna
getting
say.
the number one pick? Like cuz that's what I'm trying to avoid is the tanking element where guys are just like I'm just not going to win a game so I can get Trevor Lawrence, and it's like, well then that kind of sucks cuz
maybe maybe you could do a normal to a star and a point or two. You know what I mean? Because normally normal to a star, for the most part, you're going to be older guys or really low overall rookies for the
yeah.
most part.
Yeah, so it's
I
something
think
that
2 points is the way to go.
yeah, that we'll talk about as a commish team, and I don't see really anybody commenting on it either way. So we'll probably just come up with something, but that will be something that we pay him $100, whatever, Dar. Um, that'll be something that we'll be doing throughout the season, and then we'll kind of roll that along into the other things that we did. We did pick'ems at the beginning of this year for the reboot. And so that won't change. We'll still do like 5 or 6 games, and we'll still offer the same rewards. So if anybody is looking at what the rules are, how it's done, it's pinned up on the Pick'ems channel, so you'll be fine to go look there, and that'll explain how we'll do that. And then the other thing that we'll do is this was something we did in original Hard Knocks, which was a fantasy game that we played each week, and I'll briefly run down, but once again, I'll move this channel over and I'll pin it so everybody has the instructions.
This
And
could be a
so,
lot of fun this year with
Oh yeah.
how prolific offense is going to be. Like
yeah,
it could be legitimately like anyone's game. Where the best players usually,
that's true. Yeah,
it'd be a solid pick for a player. Be like, oh, what this guy's going to get me. Manny's going to get me 20 points with this wide receiver.
yeah. Mikey
But
was
this
having
year,
Hopkins
oh man,
killing for like the first 2 seasons, so it was like Hopkins
yeah,
was a pick all the time. Um, so for sure, we'll do the fantasy, and what that was is anybody can create a lineup of one quarterback, one wide receiver, one running back, a tight end, and a kicker. So 5 players. But the key is you cannot choose your own player. So you have to choose somebody else's players. And just like fantasy football, we'll total up their yards and their TDs each week and figure out who won the week, and then you'll gain, one statistical point to any non-combine stat. And it was 2, so you get 1 to 1 and 1 to a different one. You couldn't stack 2 points, and there's a limitation. But all that stuff will be posted, and all the instructions will be there for you to read through. But that was something that we had a lot of fun with. The one thing I'm thinking what we should do with this is have everybody who posts a team be responsible for scoring their own team. Because this was something that was fairly time consuming for me. Was, we'd have 15 different teams that I have to run through and score on a week, and that was pretty rough. And the reason I say I think we could do it where everybody just scores their own, because if you score yours, you're going to go through and you'll be like, oh, I got 43 points, and somebody's like, oh yeah, I got 60. You're like, yeah, I see that guy. He didn't score that many. And I think we could probably self-govern it on our own, but
That's true.
I'd like
Good
to
idea.
see that. See if we could do it for the week one. I don't see why we couldn't. But,
Things to keep noted is what we did last year towards the end. If you edit your pick, just delete it and post it again.
Yes.
Any teams that says edited will not be valid.
Yeah, for that week, for sure. So that'll take care of those two. Let's see. What time
30
stamp are we
minutes.
at now? 30 minutes? There you go. Okay. And one other thing that we wanted to touch on real quick was position editing of your player. So effectively re-rolling abilities. So
Never.
it's in the rules. It is not allowed. If you move a player's position without contacting a commissioner for it, you will lose that player's dev for the duration of the season. And the only because I realize some players, like outside linebackers and defensive ends, when you move them, it will re-roll their ability. That's something we can't really get away from, except for supposedly we are supposed to be able to edit their abilities now, which I looked at a lot of the commissioner tools. I don't see a difference. I guess I should probably go look at a person and see if I can make that change. And so that might require us, like screenshotting what the guy is as an outside linebacker, and then when he gets moved, he has that same ability, so he doesn't get a reroll, because it's kind of messed up that certain positions would gain a reroll. Like wide receivers can't get a reroll, like linebackers or basically, yeah, linebackers, defensive ends, D tackles, stuff like that.
Right.
So super important. If you do it, you're going to lose their dev. There's no excuses. If you do it, it's over. They lose it for the year. Like, everybody should know the rules. Everybody looked at the rules, read the rules. I'm telling you now, if it happens, they lose it. And there's not going to be no excuses. There's not going to be any, oh, I didn't know that. It's your job to know it, especially at the beginning of the year. Anybody else got anything to add on that?
Nope. Plain and simple.
Nope.
I hate that. I really hate though that you could get garbage abilities like halfbacks with leapfrog and shit like that. That's we should have some sort of currency where it allows a reroll, just on a certain.
Well, it will be interesting if we're able to edit specific abilities. I just don't know how we would go about making those changes. Like perhaps,
Right.
like when Kyler Murray got Freight Train, that doesn't make any sense.
It
Like,
doesn't make any sense. That's what I
so
mean.
then it should be one of those things that maybe if a ability makes zero sense for the player given, then as a commissioner team we could basically do a random for certain abilities that player should have. Maybe we would look at doing that. But like you said, leapfrog, as much as it sucks, like Cohen had it. You know what? I
a
mean,
lot of halfbacks have it. It's just the cheap one to give.
yeah, and
Sucks.
it sucks. But if it makes sense, if they're light on their feet, then yeah, they probably should have it. And that's
Tommy
just,
Stevens had Freight Train for me. It was terrible.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
I mean, you're just shit out of luck if you get, a bad one with a person that it does fit on. So that's something we can kind of look into as we go along.
Johnny had a question for you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
looking
if
at
you saw
that.
it.
I just saw the tag. So he's asking about, is the twin halfback formation sub still banned? So I remember the reason that it was a thing before is so people couldn't just stick Derrick Henry or, insert giant stud halfback at fullback and run fullback dives. So I would think so, but I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it is an old rule, and it's probably something that
So,
shouldn't really matter at this point anymore.
so my idea is it's not gonna be as simple as that because you just banned twin halfbacks. I I'd just say weak I formation, pistol, and strong should not have that fullback position as a halfback. But anything in the shotgun with two halfbacks or two backs, like a
Hmm.
fullback and halfback, I think you should be able to put that other halfback over there. So if
Yeah,
there's
I
a
mean,
split that has a halfback and a fullback,
hmm
you should be able to sub a halfback in at that fullback spot. But
yeah,
I don't like it for in the strong or the weak or the I
hmm
formation. I don't like having a halfback and a fullback
right.
because fullback dives could be nasty,
Yeah,
especially with
with Derrick
Henry.
Henry,
90 speed, a truck master, just
right. And that was really the only reason to do it. And then I guess the other reason to do it at the time was you could run wheel routes with fullbacks that are halfbacks that are like Jamal Charles. So you'd have Jamal Charles and C.J. Spiller on a team, and it's just like okay, that's what the rule was there for.
well. If I see dual halfbacks in the shotgun, I'm not going to sit in a 3-4. I'm going to get into a nickel or a dime
Yeah, and the rule never really
because
applied to shotgun because most of the time, if they had two halfbacks in there, it didn't really matter, and it wasn't a sub package. It was just part of the of the
setup.
formation itself. Yeah. So I'm curious what JP's talking about. He said, "I'm asking because of the new thing," and what is the new thing?
JP got some inside knowledge that we don't have yet.
Yeah, he probably got his new ebook today, so he's like, "Oh, I got this new combo."
Yeah, well, I'm
Johnny's just
lurking. Johnny's talking about how you can do formation subs. So, like, if you're in gun split, then you could audible down to like I form or something, depending
oh
on your
yeah,
personnel.
yeah, you can do that.
All right, I'm out.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's a good example of reasons not to do it because then you wind up with two 90 plus speed guys on the field
In
coming
the
from,
affirmation.
yeah, from a shotgun set. And, now you have where normally a fullback would be. So,
So what I would counter with is don't allow an audible to an affirmation. Allow the two backs out of the shotgun still.
right.
Just place a rule in there that says you cannot audible to a heavier set.
Yeah, I think we're just going to keep that rule, like because the rule is there for because if we allow it, then what's stopping anybody from running Derrick Henry in a dive? Nothing, because it would be totally legal. So yeah, that rule's going
I
to
have a
stay.
halfback at fullback anyways. That Javiz Olawale guy, he's like a 69 overall, but he's got like I think it's like 87 speed and
Yeah,
85
and
excel
I
or
mean
something like that.
there are really fast halfbacks, but that's what makes those halfbacks special, in my opinion. Because Olawale's a fullback, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
he's a fullback.
yeah. I mean, there are fullbacks that are special, just like there are tight ends that are special that have great speed. That that's what
Darren
makes them
Waller.
special. Yeah, exactly. So, um, what's our next timestamp here?
38 minutes ago when we started.
38 minutes. Okay, so we're going about 45 or yeah 38 minutes, so we're doing pretty good. I think what we could talk about real briefly is rebuild teams. So I wrote down four, and Mikey, if you got one, or Greg, if you got one that you thought was interesting. I'm just kind of curious what you guys think these owners are going to look for in the draft because I think they need the most help. So we'll start with the Patriots. What do we got here? And that's
Oh, that's
coach.
coach.
Yeah, so
Fucking coach.
think about coach's play style. I don't know that he wasn't really a scrambler with Lamar when he had him. So, who's their quarterback right now?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. So he's old. Should still be pretty good. But I would think he's probably going to have to look for a quarterback, and then God, I mean they need everything, right?
Yeah, I mean they've got Hightower still, don't they? They've got McCourty, both
Yeah.
McCourtys, I think, Jason and Devin.
I'm going to go ahead and pull up our franchise right now and see kind of what this team looks like, because I think they're going to need a wide receiver. They're going to need a quarterback. I think their running back's not bad though, right? Isn't that
They've got a trip set of
yeah?
halfbacks. that are all pretty good, and they still have Burkhead too.
Start your week by installing your game plan.
So let's see. Let's go look at this team real quick. My team's pretty bad, but we're not going to talk about my team. I'm fairly young, but a lot of very average guys. So you got Cam Newton at 78. They did him dirty. And then they got James White, Sony Michel. So that's not bad. And then at wide receiver, they're going to have Edelman, Sanu, Marquise Lee, and they got Demir Bird, but that dude's short. So, like, their wide receiver core is pretty rough. I mean, they got good stats, but I think they're going to be, I mean, they're slow. And in this game, that's going to be a death sentence, I think, unless route running is really crazy.
Cool. And
then they got a 69 overall tight end. Offensive line doesn't appear to be too bad. They might actually have one. Wow, they have a really good offensive line. They got 3 guys in the 80s and then 2 guys just in the high 70s. So their offensive line isn't bad. They might be older. But let's see. Adam Butler. Yeah, their interior's not great. Got a little bit of speed at linebacker in a couple spots. They got a nice rookie, Josh Uche. 86 speed, 90 excel, 84 agility. So, coach not looking too bad. And they got Brandon King, too. So, they got a lot of speed at LB. And then, you know, their CBs aren't bad, though. That's where they really shine. Jason McCourty, Gilmore. Jonathan Jones, 94 speed, 95 excel. Good Lord. They're going to be maybe kind of tough on defense. So what do you think they're going to go for first, Mikey?
I don't know. You can go various routes on that one. It's just about maybe what his style is going to be. I remember when he had Minnesota, he would throw a lot. He wouldn't run as much. He's not much of a runner. He just sits back and throws. So I don't know what he's going to think of Cam, how Cam plays.
I'm going to guess Cam's attributes are not great. So he's probably going to have to get a new quarterback season 1. And I would think he's probably going to go heavy offense first season.
Yeah, I would say so too. Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially in this game that's going to be so offense-oriented. But then, at the same rate, I guess you could say defense is going to be the one that everybody's going to need. So after that, then the next rebuild that I thought would be interesting would probably be the Giants. I think they're going to need some help. And that's in our division, Greg. That's SIB. So,
I mean, you got Barkley over there.
Well, I mean, Barkley, without a doubt, he's the one piece. But beyond that, I mean, they got Daniel Jones at 72 overall. No real throw power, minimal stats, inaccuracies. Let's see here. Man, these menus are slow.
Yeah,
but they have a decent, decent core. They got Sterling Shepard, and then they got Darius Slayton, who's pretty fast. Corey
I heard
Coleman.
they had a good offensive line. Maybe that's in real life and not in the game. What's
That might be.
look like?
I will tell you right now that. So I mean, they have a little bit at wide receiver. Obviously, they have Evan Ingram, 91 or 90 speed tight end. O-line, they got old ass Nate Solder at a 70 overall. Will Hernandez at 78. They got a 65 overall center. That's not going to stay there. And then they got Zietler at right guard. And then Andrew Thomas. So, yeah, their offensive line does not look great. So I can't imagine they're going to be good there. They got Dexter Lawrence at left end. I don't know that they look real great at left end, but they got Leonard Williams at right end. DT, nobody with super big strength, no real block shed. Lorenzo Carter, though, is pretty fast. Only 2 years in the league, so that's good.
So you're saying Sib's going to need a few years to put it together?
It doesn't
need to help a lot.
It doesn't look great. He's got Carter Coughlin as a rookie with 86 and 87 speed, or excel. And then at DB, I mean, DBs are bad. I mean, their best coverage corners, Bradbury with 79 and 77 zone. Like, it's just kind of
Jesus.
ugly. I think it was all middling speed. Yeah, and their speed is slow. I mean, 89, 91, 90. They got a slow ass safety in Xavier McKinney, 6 foot though. Got some.
You guys seen this change of direction? The
Yep.
tribute.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like it's going to be a factor.
It's supposed to be.
It's a huge user factor.
Man.
You want to look at that for anybody you want a user.
Yeah. So that guy's not really that great, and then he's got Jabril Peppers. They got Nate Ebner, Penn knows, the old goat, the old free agent goat. I'm pretty sure everybody knows. Used to have like 91 hit power, good speed, good agility. But yeah, this team is in bad shape. So Sib, I mean, he's a good trade guy, but like he doesn't. I mean, only thing he could do is trade Saquon Barkley. Like, and I don't see that happening.
I wouldn't want to trade Saquon. Yeah. Maybe we need to help him out somehow. I don't know.
You want to help a division rival? What is wrong with you?
I guess I'm gonna win the division anyway. No.
And then the next one that I thought was kind of interesting is the Lions. So G Wisdom, he was with us in this last couple seasons. So let's take a look at this team real quick. Oh, I guess I kind of moved off of Sib too quickly. So let's assume Sib does not trade Saquon Barkley. Like, where does he go with his draft? I mean, I don't remember who I called
Probably
on first.
offense. So. You need to go offense in this game. I mean, anybody who's watching.
Right.
Defense is, unless you're elite at the game,
I mean,
defense is going to be nothing.
Well, I mean, that begs the question, though. So shouldn't you then, if offense is going to be easier, shouldn't you then go heavy defense?
Yeah, I think heavy defense.
But it's only if defense makes a difference. Like, that's the real question.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was going for. Like,
yeah.
He's going to need, like, 3 corners and a good safety. You said he had a slow safety. He's going to need all that shit to be half decent.
Right.
And I don't think you can do that in 1 year. So go offense as much as you can and then draft defense.
Get a couple pieces. Get a couple pieces and then try to build up some guys.
I think you can reverse order. I think you can do the reverse in that while you have your quarterback that you're trying to build up. You start drafting defense. By year 2 or 3, your quarterback's a lot higher. Your receivers or Saquon's still going to be around the same. Then you're kind of more balanced, as opposed to if you go heavy offense and let the defense slow rebuild. I don't know. I feel like the Giants should go defense.
What position is Isaiah Simmons right now?
He's linebacker or safety.
Did they have him as a safety?
I
think they played him like they do with Peppers. So Johnny's question is, can Isaiah Simmons be moved to linebacker? Since I'm pretty sure he was an outside linebacker in college for Clemson.
Right. And this is always something that comes up every year. And I think this past year what we did is we just kind of looked at them, and if they can fit that position, that's great. And we'll probably wind up approving anything that makes sense. What I try to avoid is letting a cornerback who is like 88 speed that is too slow to play corner move to safety, and he's got say he's got 84 man coverage. It's just not good enough as a corner, but 84 man coverage on a safety is too much because
spectacular.
I mean, there's elite safeties that have good man coverage, and that's what I want to avoid. I just want to keep the game as close to allowing standout players to be standout without creating guys that become standout. Because that begs the question is like Isaiah Simmons, what's his change of direction?
It's
probably pretty high.
It's 85.
85.
But
so it's really good.
93 speed and 93 acceleration.
Right.
Yeah, he's fast. He blew the combine away this year, but he tested as an outside linebacker, if I remember right.
And so they have him at what? Safety or corner?
Safety, I'm pretty sure.
Safety.
So he's definitely not a corner.
Yeah, he's at safety.
Yeah, so 93 speed, 93, 91.
But if you
I
go,
mean,
if
well,
you go to
Montez Sweat
every,
for the Redskins. What do you have? What's Sweat at right now for you, KK?
Yeah, he's 90 speed and
92.
91 excel, I think.
Yeah, and he's an
Yeah,
outside linebacker slash defensive end. So I
he
mean,
starts as a defensive end, and so
yeah, that's
yes.
nuts.
yeah,
The
and
thing
then
is with Simmons, though, I
mhm,
think honestly he's the one-off case. He's a freakish athlete, but he's played linebacker,
mhm,
His whole
hybrid,
career.
safety his whole career. Even if you look up the projected depth charts, he's in at linebacker on every projected depth chart. I
yeah,
literally just Googled 3 of them, and he's linebacker, or right inside linebacker.
yeah, and oftentimes that's the way. Like I know there's been several cases in the previous years where, somebody's like, oh, so and so was a corner, and they have him at safety. Can I just move him to corner? And those things I think make sense. So we typically make those adjustments. So I don't see why he couldn't be moved there. He's going to be OP as hell, but I mean that's probably where he plays. I mean, a 238-pound, 6'4" LB.
Yeah, this one I just don't understand why Madden puts safety if everywhere else so far it's been linebacker. I think that's why this is the one-off,
Yeah.
situation.
So moving along, Johnny's hijacking our segment here. We got the Lions, which is G Wisdom, and so this team obviously got old ass Stafford. He's got 11 years in the league. Still got good stats. So he's got Stafford. He's got Kerryon Johnson, the rookie Swift, Ty Johnson at running back. Let's see, wide receiver, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, Amendola, Marvin Hall Jr. So they got Galladay, who's good. But, I mean, he's not especially fast. He's tall, but his stats are pretty great. 95 catch in traffic, 91 catch, 94 spec. Marvin Jones with 96 spec. Guy's going to be mossing people like crazy. But wide receiver's not bad. TJ Hawkinson, fantasy Hard Knocks favorite right there. Offensive line, just briefly looking over that thing. Looks pretty rough. He's going to need help at O-line pretty bad. And then defensive end, he's got Deshaun Hand. Not too bad. He's got good block shed, good strength. Trey Flowers, definitely a stud right there. So he looks good at right end. And then he's got Danny Shelton at DT. Nick Williams. So then he's got Jamie Collins, Gerard Davis. Let's see. Gerard Davis still there. Kind of middling it. This is the Lions. He's got Miles Killebrew, who's a stud for a user. 90 or basically 89 hit power, 85 agility, 88 excel, 87 speed, but 78 change of direction. So he's only got 2 really fast linebackers, and then he's got a couple average guys. And I don't even know if it's really fast. Gerard Davis only has 85 speed. So yeah, that's a little tough. A little slow at linebacker. Not bad at DB. He's got Desmond Trufant, Justin Coleman, Jeff Okuda. That guy wasn't too bad last year. Daryl Roberts with some. He's got decent speed at corner, and 2 good starters. Deron Harmon, good speed. C.J. Moore, good speed. Safety, Tracy Walker. Yeah, he's got really speedy safeties. So, to me, I think he's probably going to look for a QB early. Once again, I think he's probably going to go heavy offense, probably going to go after, a fast wide receiver. I imagine that's what everybody's going to wind up doing. And then, do you guys think he's going to sit with Kerryon Johnson or DeAndre Swift?
I
don't know.
Probably.
You
I
think
think
so?
Swift is. I think Swift will be solid.
Yeah. He's pretty average, 89 speed, 90 excel, so it really just depends on, what that first year's draft class. Because what draft class are we looking at now? Is it going to be, it's going to be the second year one, right? Because it's not the Trevor Lawrence draft class, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It will be.
It will be. Okay, so
he's not in the league yet.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if he was 2 years out or 1 year out. So. Yeah, that's right. It will be Trevor Lawrence. So I think, all these teams are going to be looking to get Trevor Lawrence. So I don't know. What halfbacks were good in this draft class?
The one coming up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the one
maybe
coming up.
Verdell.
It was McFarland in that draft class too? The one that Manny was using? Nobody knows.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Pulling it up right now.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to have to go wide receiver. They're going to have to go, or they're going to have so many holes to fill. It's crazy. They're going to have to go quarterback. They might skip this year unless they do really bad, and get Trevor Lawrence. But I think you could get another year out of Matthew Stafford, no problem, and grab a wide receiver and then try to plug holes at O-line. Deal with Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift, and then maybe the next year, plug another hole at O-line and try to get, maybe a running back or get that quarterback that you need.
Yeah, I just pulled up a random draft, and Travis Etienne is the first running back drafted, and it's at 31.
He's Clemson, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
It's a heavy receiver draft. I know that with Rondell and Chase. There's heavy receivers I see.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of these guys are going to go offense, which means there's going to be a lot of defensive players that drop to the mid-level picks, which will be really interesting. Unless everybody decides to just go, screw it, let's just go heavy defense and try to stop this OP offense. But I just don't see it. Not with the way offense plays right now. And then to round out the rebuild teams, I think the Panthers have to be on this list, and that is N-Twin as the owner. He's got Teddy Bridgewater at QB.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, 84 throw power. Good God, just
Woo-hoo.
Jesus.
They nerfed all that this year, though. Dak Prescott only has 88 throw power or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Matt Ryan has, but he had no problem throwing deep, so maybe it doesn't matter as much this year. And Teddy's accuracies aren't bad, so he might not be too bad, but he's not going to develop much. Obviously, you got McCaffrey. Head into DJ Moore at wide receiver, so he's got great speed at wide receiver there. Robbie Anderson, too. That's a nice pickup. Curtis Samuel. Yeah, I mean, they got 3 solid receivers right there for sure. So I think they're looking good at wide receiver. Tight end that doesn't look like they have much of anything there, so that's kind of a hole. Offensive line, we got a 76, a 68, an 81, 67, and an 80. So probably an average O-line, I would say, based on what I've seen so far. And they got Brian Burns at right end, 88 speed, 891 excel. That's all good. And then they got nobody really there.
Aren't their DBs terrible?
I will let you know. They have K1 Short at DT. So good strength, good block shot. They got 2 solid DTs. And then Tahir Whitehead. Wait, that's not the guy I was thinking of. I was thinking of a different guy. So they got Shaq Thompson. Wow, change of direction though, 79. Just 85 speed. Not a ton of speed there. Oof, not getting any better at middle linebacker. And it's terrible at outside linebacker, at right linebacker. So they're slow at linebacker. DBs, they got Dante Jackson. Good speed. Decent coverage. Eli Apple, same situation. They got good speed, which maybe that'll help them a lot, but their coverage really drops off pretty quick. Free safety, they got Trey Boston, a rookie. Trey Boston's obviously the starter at 84 speed, so he's not bad. And then at strong safety, they got 2 guys with really good speed there. Coverage stats aren't great. Hit power is kind of average. So, Mikey, what do you think about the Panthers? Like, if you're the owner, what are you looking to do first?
QB.
A lot of QB is going to have to be going off the board. But you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's
crazy.
definitely QB. Teddy Bridgewater. Ugh, I don't even know if I could play with him.
Yeah, I mean,
I try to make a trade,
yeah, he's fairly slow. 82 speed, 86 excel.
but he's got good weapons. He's got good receivers and
Yeah.
a good running back.
The receivers are key.
He's got two. He's got that rookie DT who's super strong. I think his name's like Brown, the Auburn guy, right?
And,
Derek
at
Brown or
DT.
something.
Yeah, I looked
Yeah.
at him. He was the second guy on the list. He's actually,
he's a rookie.
I think he's like 90 strength. Oh wait, no, never mind. I was looking at Derek Brown. Is that the guy you're thinking of at DT?
Yeah, Derek Brown.
Okay,
Brown.
yeah. He's got 90
Yeah.
strength. He's got 80 block shed. So for a rookie, I mean, I think he's going to develop well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think like he has a couple good positions where he can, he can develop, but he needs a quarterback. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the quarterback is definitely a need, especially with all that speed. You're going to want to throw the ball, and you have McCaffrey as well. So you have weapons for sure that you need to be able to use. He needs a little bit of help at O-line, and then obviously needs corner. And he does need a lot of help at linebacker, though. So I could see him going linebacker first and then trying to get a second-round QB, or maybe, like you said, make a trade and get 2 picks in the first. Because I don't know what their picks are looking like, but that's what I would do. Greg, what about you?
He's got good wide receivers. I'd maybe go after a halfback.
With McCaffrey?
Oh shit! Never mind. I forgot to have McCaffrey. Oh my god! Wow.
Somebody's playing Mutt. They're too busy right now.
Someone's gonna let me hear that in the chat too. Like, how do
Yeah.
you forget McCaffrey?
Right.
I guess quarterback. With how OP offense is, I'm not sure a great quarterback is a necessity.
Yeah, you think you might be able to just sign a free agent quarterback and make it work?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, I gave Penn Lamar, but he was doing just fine with Tommy Stevens at like a 79 overall.
Right.
It just depends. A lot of it's on the quality of the player.
Dar says you make him look smart.
Gosh. He said we have sexy voices earlier.
Oh
How
yeah,
about
you
them
know
not-
it. Ah. All right, so we've been going for about an hour now, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'll post the segment on the podcast archive with some of these timestamps as soon as I can, and we'll be looking to do a kickoff podcast here coming up, talk about a lot of the division matchups, not necessarily who's going to win divisions, but what divisions play which in their schedule, and take a look at some interesting matchups for the season. So super excited for that. And anybody else got anything to offer?
I just want to get this started as fast as possible.
Yep.
Hopefully this weekend, Dario. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for. If everybody can get on the ball and get the game,
Right.
I'd love to start this weekend. I think KK is right with me there.
That's what I want to do. Let's get rolling. So once again, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll catch you later.
All right. See you guys.